Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is TWiT.
Bandwidth for the Tech Guy is provided by Cachefly. CACHEFLY.com. Hi, this is Leo Laporte, and this is my Tech Guy podcast. This show originally aired on the Premier Radio Networks on Sunday, October 30th, 2011. This is episode 818. Enjoy. The Tech Guy podcast is brought to you by Ford, featuring voice-activated Sync app link. Now you can control select smartphone apps with your voice, so you keep your hands on the wheel and your eyes on the road. Check it out in the 2012 Ford Fiesta and at Ford.com/technology. And by Gazelle, the easy way to sell or recycle most any used electronic gadget from your home or office. Don't just sell it, Gazelle it. Gazelle your used gadgets today at Gazelle.com. Well, hey, how are you today? Good to see you. Leo Laporte here. The scary Halloween edition of the Tech Guy. If you want to call in, I mean, there's nothing scarier than technology, is there? That's the horror show. If you want to call in and ask a question, make a comment, make a suggestion. If you want to talk about tech, this is the show for you. 8888 Ask Leo, that's the number. 888-827-5536, toll free from anywhere in the U.S. of A. Outside the U.S., use Skype. You can call us 888-826 8888 Ask 5537. There you go. You know what? I never remember. You know what I do? I go to the website, techguylabs.com, and it's all there. That's the thing to do. Tech Guy Labs. That's all you really have to remember, techguylabs.com. And everything you need is there, including the show notes. This is episode 818. 818. Scott Wilkinson will join us about half an hour, at 33 after the hour, to talk about home theater. And I'll be taking your calls all day. And I can talk about anything that's on your mind. It's hard for, I've been spending the entire week reading the Steve Jobs book, and it's so hard for me not to, talk about it ad infinitum. But it's such an insight into the technology world. And right now I'm reading about how he convinced the music industry that the only thing that could save them was iTunes and the iPod. And they went kicking and screaming, but you know what? I don't know if it saved them, but it definitely gave them a business where they were about to lose it all to piracy, right? And now there's this iTunes Match thing. Hasn't rolled out yet. I'm very interested in this. It's kind of an amnesty program for iPod and iTunes users. So the deal is that, as I understand it, and it hasn't, like I said, we're waiting. I thought it might be out by now, but there are probably issues. It's certainly going to use a lot of bandwidth and server stuff. Because what it is you'll pay, what is it, $25 a year? And what it does is it looks at all your music in your library, even the stuff you stole, such a strong word, downloaded from Napster years gone by, or Kazaa, or LimeWire. They don't ask where you got it. And they'll say, oh, you've got that. And it'll store your entire collection, even music it says you've imported from CDs or purchased somewhere than iTunes, for $25 a year. But here's the beauty of it. It'll see if it knows what that song is, and even if you have a low-quality recording of it, it will replace it with one of the 20 million high-quality recordings in the iTunes store. And if iTunes can't match it, then you'll upload it. So your iCloud will contain all the music you own, even the stuff you stole. I think of it as an amnesty program from the music industry. They'll convert it to a 256 kilobit AAC, which is very high quality, copy protection free, even if your copy was of lower quality or stolen. And then I presume that then you can download those songs, or they'll automatically download onto all your other devices. So in effect, it's replacing your pirated music. Now, what's not clear, it says $25 a year. It's not clear if you have to keep paying for that. I don't think you do. I think once you've done it, once it's all converted, you keep that song forever. I'm sure that what Apple told the music industry is, hey, look, you're never going to get paid for that song that Leo downloaded from Napster. Yeah, I did a few, like 5 gigabytes way back when. Hey, everybody was doing it. All the kids are doing it. You're never going to get that money from Leo for that song, so why not just take the $25? It's better than nothing. And what I thought was very interesting in this book, they talk about it, is that Steve Jobs' real focus on getting people to the music industry to replace piracy with these 99-cent downloads. And boy, they didn't want to do it. They thought the price was too low. They thought they wanted to sell albums because the albums they made more money on, right? Because there's only 1 or 2 hit singles on any given album in most cases, and the rest of it's just filler. So they make more money if you buy an album, even though you don't want all of the songs. It's by the way, it's things like that make people hate the music industry over time. So in any event, he convinced him 99 cents, and the reason he wanted to do it, of course, he makes 30 cents of that dollar. But Apple's always said, well, we don't really make any money on iTunes because the cost of delivering you the music ends up eating all that up. But he really said karma is a bad thing. You don't want to steal. I thought this was really interesting. And I believe that Steve was a Buddhist, and he kind of believed this. He thought this is bad for your karma, your long-term spiritual health, to be stealing music. And I think that's absolutely true. How often, though, do we make that argument to kids or even ourselves? We say, oh, you might get caught. You might say it's a bad thing to do. But really, the argument is you're stealing the music from an artist who made the music, who deserves to be paid for the music. And if you want the music to continue, you better buy it. I've said that, haven't I? I just think it's great that was the motivation. I think more than even let's make a business out of this. At least that's the impression I got from the book. Anyway, and I think iTunes Match is kind of another step in that direction. Kind of, it's an amnesty. Kind of lets you get you off the hook. Oh, I've paid my $25 now. I can keep all that music I got over the last few years over LimeWire, Kazaa, Napster. Well, think of all those programs. eDonkey, wasn't there one called eDonkey? I mean, they were, and Jobs said this, terrible experiences. You didn't know what you were going to get. He said it takes you so long to get a song on Napster or LimeWire that you're getting paid, in effect, the amount of money you're saving, the 99 cents you're saving. You get 4 songs an hour. It's less than the minimum wage you're saving. I think this is good. I like this idea. Now, Big Ginge makes a good point. He says, I don't pirate music, so I resent having to pay $25. That's interesting. Yeah, because what if you just rip stuff from CDs? All Apple's doing is replacing it. Well, you're paying the $25 a year, which is $2 a month, right? You're paying that so that you don't have to upload the song. So what happens is it looks at everything that's in your library. If it already has it, it says done. We already have that. You don't have to upload it. See, the Google Music solution, you have to upload everything, and they store it for you. But imagine the amount of storage that would use. Apple's smart to say, look, we don't want to store multiple copies of every song. We just like to have one and give you the right to download it if you've proven you owned it. And with the $25, in effect, you prove you own it. I think that's clever. So even, I guess a Big Ginge, what you're paying for is the convenience, $2 a month of not having to upload it. And you only have to pay it, 1 year and upload, have everything there. And I presume that we don't know. But my guess is that just kind of, that's now you got a license to that song forever. And that if you have new songs next year, then it's $25 or something. We don't know. And Apple hasn't said. Although all the news stories say this thing's coming soon, any minute now. iTunes Match. At some point, you'll see a button on your iTunes. It's the word they're using is it should be released imminently. I don't know what that means. Imminently, soon, someday soon, coming to an iTunes near you. Apple has we also learned in the book that Apple had plans for a TV. It's not clear exactly what, but the pundits, the wise guys, of whom I am one, I presume. I consider myself a pundit, say, and I think this is probably the case, when Steve Jobs in the book told Walter Isaacson, his biographer, TVs are too complicated. We wanted to make something simpler, and we think we've got it licked. What we think is that he was talking about talking to your TV. And it's not just Apple. Microsoft's going to do this too. They have a new Microsoft TV thing that works with Kinect that will let you talk to your TV. Play Gossip Girl. Play last week's Gossip Girl. Record next week's Gossip Girl. Wouldn't that be nice? Shut up, Dr. Phil. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Now we're out of time. No, I want to tell you about Ford Sync with AppLink. AppLink is an API for smartphone developers to connect to the voice control in Ford Sync. So some of the earliest ones are Pandora.com. So you can literally, in your Ford, you could say, play my Johnny Cash station, and it'll play. They have one called OpenBeak that'll read you tweets, both your DMs and your timeline and your replies. It is cool stuff. If you go to Ford.com/technology, you can learn about that and all the other amazing things Ford are doing with their amazing 2012 cars, including the 2012 Ford Fiesta, where you'll have sync with AppLink. Ford.com/technology. The engines, it's little things too, like that capless fuel filter, the electric cars, the inflatable rear seat belts, the Bliss with cross traffic alert. My Key for teenage drivers. Love that. Love that. Gets a speed warning and volume limiter, and you can set a max speed on your car when your kids drive it. Look, Ford's got it going on. And if you want to find out more, visit Ford.com/technology. We thank them for their support of the Tech Guy Show.
You know that gypsy with the gold cap too? She's got a pad on 34th and Vine, selling little bottles of love potion number 9.
Yeah, Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy. The love potion. Phone number 8888. Ask Leo if you got a question, a comment, a suggestion. Let's get right to Anna because she's got to go. And I want to help her before she does. Hi, Anna from Pacific Palisades, California. Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy. Hey, Anna. I guess she went. She had to go, and she did. Anna, are you there? Oh, I try so hard to accommodate, and then I fail. Cheryl, let's try Cheryl, Lancaster, California. Cheryl, Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy.
Good morning.
Hello.
Hello. I'm calling because we had a problem Friday night with our DirecTV. Very dissatisfied with it, and not having it this weekend, realized I can do without it. But I've got a very old Sony TV that only has the RCA and the coax in the back. It's not a high def, and I've got a Apple laptop, and I'm just trying to figure out what or how to stream from the laptop over to
it's a lot
TV.
easier if you have a modern TV and
Right.
and you can connect them digitally. So the old TV, as you point out, only has a few inputs. It probably has a connector for an antenna, an RF connector. It probably has that yellow composite connector. There's be yellow, red, and white connections on the back. Does it have that? Yeah. Does it have anything else? Are those the only two ways?
Those are the only two ways.
Okay. So what you need, and tell me how the laptop, does it have, how recent a Mac laptop is it? What kind of outputs does it have?
It's the Mac Pro. It is an older one.
Does it have a VGA port? It probably has a DVI port.
Right. It
Yeah.
does have a DVI port.
Okay. So you can Google this. You just need to find a DVI to composite converter. Now, this is an active converter, so it's not cheap because it's not just wiring. It's got to take a digital signal and turn it into analog. And the quality that will result depends a lot on how expensive or how good the device is that you buy. They're going to be several $100. You know, it's very much the reverse. People ask me, well, how do I get my VCR into my computer? It's the same. It's pretty much the same thing. That's an analog to digital converter. You want digital to analog converter.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
So 100 would be cheaper to buy a new TV.
Yeah, because the results often aren't very good either. I mean, remember,
Okay.
yeah, it'd be cheaper to buy a new TV. Exactly right. And then you can get DVI is electrically the same as HDMI. That's the digital interface for TVs. So those connectors are cheap.
Okay, yeah.
So then you're basically it's rejiggering the wiring. So I think that's the best way to go is get a cheap display.
Okay, what about, because what initially got us looking at all this was the Roku.
Love the Roku.
Yeah. The only problem with it is I noticed is that, because I like the Hulu Plus, I like everything on there, but it doesn't seem like they have a lot of, like CBS, and that's what we watch the most.
Yeah, the stupid networks. You know, I was trying to watch Suburgatory last night because the girl who stars in it is an old family friend. And guess what? ABC doesn't put it on demand. ABC doesn't put it on Hulu. ABC puts it on their web page, but they only put it there for a few days.
Mm-hmm.
So it just drives you crazy. You know why? They don't want you to do what you're about to do, Cheryl. They don't like it. You know, the funny thing is, you'd think the networks wouldn't mind. They're getting the ads, for crying out loud. They're getting paid for it. You know, I can understand why the cable company wants your money, but what's the story? Networks, don't you want to go right to Cheryl directly and eliminate the middleman? But apparently they have deals with the networks or something that or with the cable companies or something that is making it impossible for them to do this. So either that or they're greedy. It reminds me very much of what I was just talking about, the music industry 10 years ago, who just didn't get it. And I think right now the movie and TV industry are in the same boat. They just don't get it. And the only thing that forced the record industry to change was piracy. Guess what? Piracy's killing TV and movies. They're suing. They're doing the same thing the record companies did, fighting it tooth and nail instead of offering a better choice. And as soon as the record companies gave you a choice, people said, "Oh yeah, that's better. I'll do that." Just give us a choice. But instead,
when we had the DirecTV, we had it on all the time. You know, it was instead of music, it was background noise. And not having it this weekend, it's like I'm not involved in baseball, so I missed for all
peace and quiet.
Yeah, it's been very quiet. Last night, I realized I wasn't able to record Graham or Chuck. So, I mean, we were sitting in office chairs, but I went and watched it on the computer for free, and it was just fine.
Yeah, so really, the future is exactly what you're contemplating, which is somehow getting your television on the internet, so you don't have to sit in your office watching TV shows. And more we're moving there. Roku is a very good choice, but as you say, it doesn't have everything. Nothing does. That's what this is called cord cutting, by the way. Should be called cable cutting, but it's cord cutting, and it is the in thing. All the kids are doing it. And what you find out is, it's funny, ironically, you could have watched the World Series. Major League Baseball, the NBA, the National Hockey League, sports franchises have figured this out, and they're going directly to the internet, making it possible for you to do this. Major League Baseball offers a Roku player that you can watch the entire season. It costs you $129 or something, but if you're a baseball fan, you get every game.
It's worth it, yeah.
It's worth it. And then, see, the whole thing is you're buying it a la carte. You're not buying the packages. That's how DirecTV, Dish, cable TV make money, selling you packages. They don't want to sell you individual stations because they know, just like the music industry didn't want to sell you individual songs because they know they're selling you a lot of junk, and that's where the profit is, stuff you don't want. But we're getting there. We're getting there. Yeah. Now, another thing you might look at, because it's only $99 now, is the Google TV. I didn't recommend it when it first came out from Logitech because it was $300, but it has a full-blown browser in it, so you can go, unlike the Roku. So it has all the same things the Roku has: Hulu Plus, Netflix. I love Netflix streaming. Hulu Plus, Netflix, Crackle, all those other channels. But it also has a keyboard and a browser, and it puts your computer. It is a computer. It hooks up to the TV, and so you can go to a web page. Now, here's the problem with this is ABC, CBS, the networks block the browser. They go, "Oh well, you can do it on your computer, but I don't know. We don't want you to hook it up to the TV set." It makes me nuts, but you know what? You're in the right time, the right place, Cheryl. It's happening. I'd start with a Roku. Try to live with that.
Now, the Roku, I could hook up to the older TV? Or
No, you gotta.
Still have to.
Well, actually, wait a minute. They might have a Roku that has composite. They have component and HDMI on the Rokus. Maybe does it? Let me ask. There are probably some these are called set-top boxes. There probably are some set-tops that have composite out. But you know what? Don't, because it'll look terrible. Get a $200. Go to Costco. Get a $200 TV. Oh, wait a minute. All Rokus do have composite. So Knox Harrington tells me, yes, you don't have to get a new TV. They've got HBO Go on it. They've got Netflix, Hulu Plus, Amazon, Pandora, Disney. It's pretty amazing what they're doing on that Roku. That's what I'd do. And it will hook up to your old TV. And it's only $59.
Right, yeah. I saw they had them to a Target. And so
Yeah, I love the Roku. I'm a big Roku fan.
All right.
Thanks for the call.
Some options there.
I think you didn't know it, but you're a forerunner. You're on the cutting edge. Thanks,
Good.
Cheryl. We're going to take a break, come back with Scott Wilkinson, our home theater guy. We'll talk more right after these words. I'm Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Gazelle! Gazelle! G-A-Z. So all of us have that drawer. Do you have that? Do you have a drawer? At home we call it the messy drawer. Mine's actually more like a messy closet. And then I have a messy room filled with old stuff. Gadgets that I no longer use, wires, all that stuff. I got a messy drawer right here. I just cleaned it out. Go in your messy drawer, take a look at what's in there. I bet there's hundreds, if not thousands of dollars worth of stuff. If you could only find somewhere to sell it. Well, don't sell it. You know what I'm going to say, don't you? Gazelle it. Get cash for your gadgets at gazelle.com. Maybe you want the new iPhone 4S and you got the old iPhone 4. Maybe you'd like to sell that iPhone 4. Let's just see how this works. $172. Wow! That gets me most of the way there, doesn't it? Isn't that amazing? And you could choose from cash, PayPal, or an Amazon gift card, and you get an extra 5%. And then you buy that iPhone 4S, then you're happy. Most any used electronic gadget for your home or office can be sold on Gazelle. Here's what you go to the site, you fill in the form. Hey, he's saying it right now. Laptops, whatever, just about anything electronic. Just like he said, it's like the guy on the radio says. Gazelle.com, and you put it in a box, and they'll give you the mailing label, and then they'll give you the money. And if they can't sell it, it's non-functioning or it's really old, they'll recycle it responsibly. You're not supposed to throw that stuff in the trash. You can't. It's got lithium-ion batteries, and that doesn't go in the landfill. And it never does with Gazelle. They have responsible recycling, no landfill, no transshipment overseas. It is great. I want you to try it right now. GAZELLE.com. Recycle the easy way and get money. Money for your old stuff. Clear out that messy drawer, that messy closet, that messy room with Gazelle. Gazelle.com. We thank him so much for supporting the Tech Guy podcast. SL Extreme. Tell Siri to call Scott Wilkinson on Skype, and look, and lo and behold, here he is. Hey, Scott, how you doing?
Doing great, Leo. How about yourself?
So you also got an iPhone 4S, huh?
I did. Believe it or not, it's my very first smartphone.
Wow, that's going from 0 to 60, and
I know, and it's really great.
You like it?
I do. I love Siri.
Siri's better than I thought. I thought, there's always a risk. We call it the kind of FaceTiming. FaceTime was an example of something Apple introduced, but companies do this all the time. The demo's great. You think, oh, that's wonderful. I can't wait to get it. And then you get it home and you never use it. And I can't tell you how many technologies there are like that. And I thought there was a good chance that Siri would be one of those. Demo's great, really has a high cool factor, but do you really use it? Nah. And yet I do.
Actually, I do. Yeah.
I use it all the time. I use it to dictate texts. I use the voice dictation on the keyboard all the time, too. It's better than Android's voice dictation, at least for my accent and my voice.
I haven't tried that yet, but it sure is great for when you're in the car saying, call so-and-so.
Yeah. I use it to set timers. I love it that it knows the GPS, so I could say, remind me when I leave here to call Scott. And when I go out the door and get far enough away from work, it tells me, oh, don't forget to call Scott. So it's pretty neat.
It's great.
It's pretty neat.
It is.
Yeah, but I was worried if you talk like this, if it'd be all useful. And apparently, if you have a strong accent, it doesn't work so well. So I don't know why, except that I can't understand Scots either. So.
Right, exactly.
So let's talk about home theater. Scott is the online editor for the home theater magazine, hometheater.com. He joins us every week at this time to answer questions from his audience. Questions emailed to Scott at techguylabs.com.
That's exactly right.
What do you got for us?
Oh, I got a bunch of questions, as always. One here about curved projection screens. Now, this is getting pretty high-end. But if you have a projector and you want to watch movies in their original aspect ratio, which is 2.35 to 1, which is quite a bit wider than high-def TV, many people often put in a curved projection screen. And the reason is when you do that, when you watch movies that wide, particularly with an extra lens in front of the projector, it's called an anamorphic lens, you get what's called a pin cushioning effect, in which the edges of the ends of the picture kind of bow outward, upward and outward, and they get a little taller than the middle. And so if you put a curved screen in, that helps to compensate for that. In fact, that in the commercial movie theaters, you most often have a curved screen for that reason. So Richard Allen asks, well, what happens when you take the anamorphic lens away and watch a 16:9 image, that is the standard high-definition TV aspect ratio? Aren't you going to have barrel distortion there too? Or is it a big worry, or is it hardly noticeable? And the answer is it's hardly noticeable. It really isn't going to matter. There are those people who don't like the curved screen, who don't like anamorphic lenses to begin with, because of this distortion, this optical distortion that can occur. And so some people opt for a different solution, which is to zoom the normal projector lens without this extra lens, such that it fills the entire 2.35 to 1 image without using the anamorphic lens. Now, the disadvantage there is that you're not using all the pixels in the projector. You're only using the pixels that are on the Blu-ray, which are 1920 wide by, I think, about 817 or so. So you're losing some pixels there, but I think that is certainly a very good option, and it's certainly less expensive, because anamorphic lenses are at least $5,000 all by themselves.
Wow.
So this is a very high-end kind of situation we're talking about here.
We had a caller the other day. It was really interesting. Had one of those old Mitsubishi projection screen TVs, from bars in like the 70s and the 80s.
Oh, yes, they're called Nova Beam.
Nova Beam. They had red, green, and blue lenses on them, and of course the screens were curved on those as well.
Exactly, really curved.
Yes.
And they were really high gain, which means when the light that hits them comes out at a very specific angle, and if you're right at the right spot, it looks great. But if you move off-centered by just a little bit, it looks terrible. So I never understood why they put those in bars.
Yeah.
Because there were going to be plenty of people off-axis.
Hitting them.
yeah, well, that too.
Everything's off-axis. Yeah, but that was the only thing you could get. That's why.
Yeah, exactly right.
They weren't very bright. They didn't look very good. They were not high-def because it was pre-high-def era.
Right.
But at least you could show a football game in a bar, and more than one person could watch it.
Yeah.
So, anyway, he got one. He wanted, how can I recondition it? And I said, well, I don't think you can.
I get those questions once in a while.
How can I save? Can this TV be saved? No.
No.
And why would you want to?
I would not bother with that. That is just, ugh.
Who's coming up on Home Theater Geeks on Monday?
Oh, a very interesting fellow by the name of Drew Major. This guy co-founded Novell. You know about Novell, right? Networks.
Yeah, sure.
Networking.
Yeah.
What he's working on now is delivery of TV over IP, which you were talking about earlier in the show. With Roku and Google TV and presumably this new Apple TV, which I'm actually quite
my entire podcast network, TWiT.
Yeah, exactly.
This show, things like that. Yeah.
Well, he's the chief technology officer of EchoStar, which used to be related to Dish Network.
Right.
They have since sort of split ways, and Dish Network is its own thing, and EchoStar is its own thing. Anyway, this guy is the chief technology officer there working on IPTV. So I'm really looking forward to talking with him about what's the current state of IPTV and where can we expect it to go in the future. As you said earlier in the show, there is no online TV device that has access to everything.
Right.
It's always this thing but not that thing. And you go to a different device and, you get that thing, but then you don't get this other thing. You can't get everything on one device. And this is what's frustrating me, too, big time about IPTV. And I certainly plan to ask him about it. Is there any way? Certainly there's no technological obstacle. It's really, I think, probably more of a business obstacle, as you were alluding to earlier as well.
Oh, yeah.
These CBS and ABC and so on only want their stuff to be available on this platform for a certain amount of time. It's really ridiculous.
Very frustrating. But
very frustrating.
There's so many people cord cutting now. I think this is a movement, and I think just as
it is,
we were able to change the way the music industry worked, ultimately for the better. I think the same thing will happen with this. It's just that in fact, I talked to Dana Brunetti. We do a show called Triangulation every Wednesday on my network. Dana is a very well-known Hollywood producer. He produced The Social Network, among other things. His production company is the first ever sell a television show, a very prestigious television show called House of Cards with Kevin Spacey, to Netflix, not to a network. They were about to sign a deal with a network, and the night before, Netflix said, we'd like to do it. And so Netflix is developing this. So
it's only available on Netflix? It's not broadcast at all?
Yes, so he believes that it's the people in the industry right now are just sitting there waiting until their shift is over so they can go home before this all happens. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Thank you, Scott.
You bet.
Leo Laporte, the tech guy. I think the cord cutting thing is very interesting. That's the latest. That's the hottest. That's the thing. That's what all the kids are doing today. Getting rid of their cable TV. Getting rid of their dish. Leaving the antenna up, I guess. If you're lucky enough, you live in an area where you can get television over the air. Hey, you're golden. Because the reason people don't cord cut is because they can't see live news. They can't see things like the Super Bowl and the Academy Awards. Although I got to think it's a matter of time for both before the NFL and the Academy start broadcasting this stuff over the internet. Last year, the Academy Awards, remember they had that great iPad app and you'd have 6 backstage cameras? Well, how long before they put one in the front of the stage? And you just get the app and you say, good, I can watch this. And Apple's done an interesting thing with this iPad. And if you have an Apple TV, that little hockey puck-sized device, $99, you hook that up to your TV, and you have an iPad, anything you can get on your iPad, anything, games, apps, whatever, you can wirelessly send to the TV using AirShare. That's it in the new iOS 5. And I think that's very interesting because basically now we do have a new way of watching TV. Anything you can watch on your iPad, you can watch on your TV. I think that's an interesting move. AirPlay, I guess is what it's called. Yeah, not AirShare. 8888 Ask Leo, 888-827-5536. Toll free from anywhere in the U.S. Bill is in Ohio. Hello, Bill. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hello, Whiskey 6, Tango Whiskey Tango from KC8YQL. How you doing, Leo?
I'm good, KC8YQL. Great to talk to you. Long time ham?
Oh, yeah, long time. I'm in the D-Star, and that's why I'm calling you today. Remember I called you and Bobby Heil the other day and said you got the biggest and the baddest D-Star network right there in California. Do you remember that?
I do remember that.
Okay, I'm going to give you a frequency here, Leo, and if you can write this number down, Tuesday after the Ham Nation, maybe on the Roundtable net, this frequency I'm going to give you here next coming up is the frequency for your Mount Diablo repeater. It's the K6 MDB.
Bill, do me a favor, just email it to me. I don't think this is of general interest to our audience. Peter in Brooklyn, New York. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hi, Peter.
How you doing, Leo?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm okay, thank you. I have 2 quick questions, problems basically. One, I have a Mac Mini that I put Text Expander on.
Yeah, love Text Expander, by the way. Let me give it a plug. Although I noticed that Apple's building this into iOS now, so they may not have a big iOS market for this, but you type an abbreviation and bonk, it puts the whole paragraph in. So it saves you a lot of time if you do a lot of repetitive typing.
Right. You know what is the problem I'm having is I'm running a KVM switch, and every time I hit usually Control Enter, it switches me over back and forth between one PC and the Mac. Now, the problem is when I do that, when I come back to the Mac side, it locks up my keyboard. So I wanted to try and remove it. So I went into applications to see if it was there, and it wasn't there. So I want to know how...
Where the heck is this text expander thing? So the new text expander is an application. The old one is a control panel. You must have the older text expander, would be my guess.
Maybe.
I tell you how you can tell. Let's see. There's got to be somewhere where they say about text expander. But in any event, easy to remove control panels. You just have to look in a system folder. There are 2 different system folders on the Macintosh. There's one for each user, which is in your home folder, and then there's a library folder. By the way, they hide this now. Unfortunately, they hide this in the new Lion because I think they don't want you to go to the library. So if you want to see your library folder in Lion, you go to Finder, the Go menu, you hold down the Option key, and oh, look, there it pops up. And then in the library, there is a preference pane folder, and in there you'll find preference panes that are installed only for you. There's also one for the computer as a whole. Same thing. You have to find the library folder in the computer as a whole. You know, whatever they call it, my computer. Actually, it's not even my computer. It's the name of your computer, and then find the system preferences. It'll be called preference panes, and it'll be in there. And my suggestion is drag it out to the desktop. That way, if something goes wrong, horribly wrong, Peter, you can always get it back. It's not disappeared. Don't rename it. Just drag it to the desktop, and remember where you put it, and you can drag it back out. I bet you they have an uninstaller as well. You might try downloading. So a lot of times people do this. Let's see, smilesoftware.com. That's the company that makes it. If you download the installer, often it has an uninstaller associated, so you could press that button, and it would find where it was and move it out. So Text Expander 3 now is an app, not a control panel, but previous versions were control panels. Apps you should be able to just remove. Now, Jimmy wants to know about backup in Mission Viejo, California. Hi, Jimmy. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hey, Leo. How's it going?
Oh, it's going great.
Good. I have a network-attached hard drive to my house, and we have a couple computers that are attached to it. So we back up all of our pictures, all of our music, all of our documents.
Excellent.
So all of our computers can access it.
I do that, too. You have a centralized drive that's always backing up.
Right.
It's your version of Carbonite in the cloud, except it's not in the cloud. It's in your closet.
Right. Well, the issue that I have is I would like to be able to back up all of that to the cloud online, so that if anything happens, of course,
Exactly.
I have an online backup.
Now you have the best of both worlds. You have a local backup, which is quick to restore anytime you need it. But if your house burns down, you also have a safe copy up on the internet.
Right.
Now, as you probably already observed, Carbonite doesn't do that with their consumer version. It's one account per computer, so it wouldn't work on the network-attached storage. They do have a business version that does that, but you might also look at your NAS. Your network-attached storage drive, often network-attached storage drives have software to do this. And they may use Amazon's S3 service. That's one way to do it. If you don't, Jungle Disk works with many network-attached storage devices. It's a plug-in that runs on your NAS and will back up to S3. Now, S3 is not like Carbonite. You pay for bandwidth and you pay for every byte you store, but it's relatively affordable. So that's another choice. But I would look at your NAS. Who makes your NAS?
Buffalo Link Station.
Oh, yeah, I think those are great. I'm sure, I don't know, but maybe somebody in the chat room knows. Does the Link Station have its own backup to the cloud solution?
Not that I have seen.
Okay.
And I tried Mozy, and it's the same thing. You have to use the Pro version, and I have about 150 to 200 gigabytes of stuff.
That's why that's why nobody will do unlimited, because if you're only backing up what's on your computer, well, Carbonite knows that's not going to be 150 terabytes or whatever. It's not going to be a huge amount. But if you're doing it from a NAS that's collecting from all the computers, and your NAS has terabytes of storage, it could be a obscene amounts. So what they do is they move you to the pro account, just as Mosey and everybody else does, where you pay by the byte. Otherwise, it's just not economic. They can't. There's no business model for that. It makes sense.
Yeah, and it would end up costing me $100-some a month just to back up my network drive, which is not something I'm willing to pay.
Well, and that's another thing to consider is also the size. It may take forever to get that much backed up. So I'm going to explain how that calculation works when we come back. We got to take a break for local news. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Well, a good day to you, Leo Laporte here, the tech guy. I am not a zombie today. It is the Halloween edition of the Tech Guy Show, but no, I'm not wearing a costume. I feel that technology is scary enough. No need to enhance the terror. Those of us who live with it know what it is to be afraid. 8888 Ask Leo. That's the number 888-827-5536. I get it wrong every time. 8888 Ask Leo. If you have a question, a comment, a suggestion. We were talking to Jimmy in Mission Viejo. He's a smart man. He's sophisticated. He has what's called a network-attached storage device in his house. It's a big hard drive. Usually NAS storage devices have 2 or 4 drives in them. Reason being, it makes them bigger, but also there's redundancy. If one drive fails, you haven't lost everything. You put another drive in, it rebuilds itself, and you're good to go. He's got a Buffalo station. Those are very good. So that NAS is plugged into the house network. They're called NASs, even though they really are a computer with a big hard drive, because there's no computer screen, mouse, or monitor. You access them over the network using your browser. And every single computer in the house can see the NAS, and the NAS can see them. Many NASs come with backup software on the NAS that will automatically back up your computers. So it's a great backup solution. People also use it for media servers. That means you put pictures, movies, or music on them, and you can watch the media anywhere in the house over the Wi-Fi network. That's a nice solution as well. And I bet you do all of that, Jimmy.
I do.
But the real question is, how do I back this? This is a backup, but how do I back up my backup? And that's really the right question. You know, even if you have a website with a web host, and they say, well, we back up your website, what you want to ask them is the backup in 2 different locations? So our website, for instance, is hosted by a company called SoftLayer in Dallas. And when they do a backup, they back it up in Dallas, but they also send a copy of that backup to their Seattle facility. So if Dallas falls off the face of the map, I still have my data. When data is really valuable, and believe me, your pictures, your family, records, your emails, your financial data, those are valuable. You want to have them in 2 places, always 2 places. The NAS is a good start, that's one, but another one should be on the internet. Somebody pointed out, Jimmy, you probably could buy carbonite for each individual computer cheaper, so that's one way to do it. But there are other solutions out there that will let you connect your Buffalo NAS to Amazon or something like that. That's what I like Jungle Disk for, but there are other solutions as well.
Yeah, I did look at the Jungle Disk, and it was a lot cheaper than Carbonite or Mosey. It probably would have been about $30 or so a month.
Right.
But still, I would have liked to get the $5, $6 a month down to that range.
Yeah, that's going to be a challenge. And that's that's why when I talk about Carbonite, I say $59 a year. What a good deal! It really is a good deal. You start to realize that, that is a pretty good deal. You're saying you're comparing it to the Mosey and Carbonite Pro solutions, which are unlimited, but they charge you more than Amazon's S3 does. I think in many cases because they're using S3, so they're giving you a value, on top of it.
Yeah.
Now, the Buffalo does have a thing called Cloud Store. You might look into.
Okay.
It's designed for the Buffalo NAS. And it's kind of basically, it's basically, Carbonite or Mosey, online backup for Buffalo NAS solutions. So that's a cloud store, or Buffalo Cloud Store without an E at the end.com.
Yeah, that's actually a separate NAS drive. I don't think it would work.
Oh, it doesn't work on your, yeah, that's annoying.
Yeah, you would need to actually buy the Cloud Store model.
I get it. So that's why they don't put it in your model. Now I understand.
Yeah, they want you to spend more.
Now I understand. You can look at Crash Plan. They're telling me in the chat room that the family Crash Plan, which is what you're looking for, is about $6 a month. CrashPlan is a pretty good company. I think they do good stuff. They're often used by businesses as a solution.
$6 a month, but am I able to back up a network hard drive? That's
Well, they call it the family solution, so I don't. That's the when you really start to get down to it and price it, it often does end up costing more than you want to pay. $35 a month doesn't sound that bad to me.
35? Is that what you said?
Yeah, that's what you talked about for Amazon's S3 for what you said 160 gigs.
Yeah, about that.
Yeah.
Because we have high definition video files, all of our pictures, and my music is synced to Google Music, so I really don't need to back up my music because it's already synced.
Isn't that a good deal? Google Music lets you put 20,000 songs on there for free.
Yeah, that's great.
That's nice. You gotta love that.
Pictures and high definition video that I really want to have backed up because you can't get those back.
Believe me, I know the problem. We have high definition video of all of our shows going back 5 years. We pay thousands a month for backup.
Yeah, those aren't small files.
They're huge.
Yeah.
They're huge. So I guess the chat room consensus in the chat room is you should take a look at CrashPlan.
Okay.
I'm not sure how that works up. What you really want is something that runs not on the individual computers, I think, but on your NAS as a plug-in, so that your NAS continues to do what it's doing, which is making copies of all the data, and that it backs itself up over the internet. Love that idea. And that's why I'm a little disappointed that the Buffalo doesn't do that, because I guess they don't because they want you to sell you their cloud store hardware. My NAS, the Ready NAS that I use from Netgear, does have built-in cloud backup. And I think I was using Jungle Disk, too, for a while. They have plugins for NASs. Network-attached storages really are just Linux computers in most cases. They're running a special version of the free Linux operating system. Charles, Berkeley, California, you're next. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hi, Charles.
Hi, Leo, and thank you so very much for taking this call. I've been going kind of crazy, but now we can probably get crazier. Who knows?
Let's see.
But here's the thing. A couple of weeks ago, you had a person that called in and was describing exactly what I have here, and I'm not sure you understood what she was trying to explain because he just went through the usual procedures of, change your password and check your firewall, et cetera, et cetera. This is not what this is. Let me just explain for a moment. Apparently, there's a web bot out there that scans all over the internet looking for any functional email address name that it can find. It has nothing to do with your computer. It has nothing to do with your machine or your network. It has to do with just finding a functioning name. And once it has that functioning name, the user address, whatever you want to call it, then it will automatically feed a spam engine that will probe websites all over the world. And what it does is, as long as it has an active email name to use, it'll automatically fill in the other details with just random characters. Like, it'll go to some website saying request sales information, or maybe a porn site saying send me pictures, or just whatever it is. But I've gotten back, now hundreds of these emails from all over the planet using my email address, but having logged into some account or having requested information, or in some cases some, pretty horrible stuff. And I've actually contacted AOL. It took me several weeks to do this, but eventually I got my way up the food chain and talked to one of the senior tech management people there. And after quite a bit of conversation, they were actually pretty good about it. They said, yeah, actually, we have had this problem. And they were a little bit secretive, because I think, and I want to be careful to say this, I don't want to hold AOL liable, because I'm not saying this is a fact, but it could be that perhaps some of their mail lists got compromised.
You know what? It's hopeless anyway. You understand that your email address is out there.
Exactly.
They don't even need a machine or a compromise to get it, because it's out there. In fact, if you look at these mailing lists that are available, they have millions and millions of addresses on them.
Correct.
Everybody, if you've been using an email address for any length of time, it's out there. This is interesting news to me why do they do this? Is this to be malicious?
Malicious, I think somebody may be paying them for the spam services, but also...
Well, but there's nothing for them to gain. So they're taking your email address and filling forms out with it.
Right, exactly.
What do they gain by doing that except annoying you?
I honestly don't know. And what's unfortunate...
So my position is that there's somebody trying to annoy you, Charles.
Well, I may not be the only person. There may be
I get this too, because I'm a public figure. I get a ton of email. People subscribe me to everything in the world.
Yeah. Well, I will admit that I'm sort of a semi-public figure. I've been published in a lot of places.
Well, there you go. So your name is out there. Maybe you made an enemy. See,
I don't know about that. But here's my question for you, Leo, and I really appreciate your thoughts. I don't want to have to lose my email name because I've had it out there for so long. And
you got no choice. We'll take a break. Come back, Charles. I'll talk to you. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
You ain't running game. Say my name, say my name. You acting kind of shady.
Chris Marquardt, our photo guy, coming up in 20 minutes with a Halloween assignment at 33 and a half after the hour. Exactly. Charles in Berkeley, California. But tell us a little bit about how he is being attacked via email and bots that are, I'm sad to say, signing his email address up for all sorts of garbage.
That's true. And so my question would be, and this may be an impossible answer, but is there anything I can do that will not require my changing my email address? Because, like you said, it's been published all over the world, and it would be a horrible thing to have to uproot my email address.
Well, yeah, especially if you're using it for business and all your friends and family and all of that stuff.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So is there anything that can be done that you know about, or is there any progress that you know of in this sort of world?
No, because I can't even think of what they would do. So, but your first problem is you're using AOL Mail, which means you don't have the best filtering capabilities, and that would be the solution. True. What you really want is to be using an email service that gives you filtering capabilities beyond that of AOL Mail. For instance, Gmail would probably clobber a lot of that spam. It would say that's spam. Okay. Even if it's to your address, it's spam.
Well, let me ask you this, and I really appreciate your thoughts. Can I keep my AOL address but feed it through some other kind of mail system?
Yes,
is that possible?
yes. And this is what I would suggest is have AOL, I believe AOL can forward it, or Gmail can fetch it. Okay. So I'm not sure which is the best way to do it. Probably if Gmail supports, let me ask the chat room if they would know this. Does Gmail support fetching email from AOL? They do from a lot of other services. Okay. So if you fetch it from AOL, then it will go into a Gmail account, which, by the way, you never publish that address.
Right. Got that.
That's a private address. And now Gmail has a lot. Yeah, they do apparently do this. So then Gmail has a lot of filtering, and it's absolutely free.
That's interesting. That's a great suggestion. Is there anybody else other than Gmail? Or
There's
Gmail?
Hotmail, Microsoft's Hotmail. I think Gmail's my favorite.
Okay.
Now, what will then happen is you'll use it. You don't have to go online to get your mail. You can use your an email client.
Okay.
You know, anyone, Thunderbird, Apple Mail, Outlook, and it will fetch the mail from Gmail, and you can have additional filtering locally.
Interesting. So I can use a Gmail filter and then add a local filter on top of that.
That's right. One little caveat, you have to tell Gmail, this is kind of a complicated setting, to use your AOL address as the reply to field so that so that it looks like when you send mail. Actually, you could continue to send mail through AOL if you wanted to, but I usually just send it out through Gmail. But you need
that was the reply to field you said?
Yeah, there's a I can't remember what the setting is called, but Gmail lets you say what server this email is coming from, not Gmail, right? And you need it to do that, otherwise people start responding to Gmail.
Exactly.
Yep.
Okay, well, thank you so very much. And if you have anybody else that calls in with this question, I mean, in other words, is this a fairly new phenomenon, or is this something
I think it's targeted at you, Charles. No, I'm serious.
Really?
Yeah, because there's no percentage in a bad guy doing this. What do they gain? What do they gain? I'm trying to think of why a bad guy would want to harass you. It's you. Now, I get harassed. It happens to me because I'm a public figure. Every public figure gets harassed. And they don't even need to use a bot to do it. Once they've got your address, they just go around, and, whenever they got some free time and sign you up for crap. You tick somebody off. There is no, maybe there's some grand global conspiracy to bombard people with spam, but I can't think of what it is. What would be the, percentage in that? Now, I'll tell you how I do my email. It's ridiculously complicated, but it's because the spam filtering is the best solution to this. You can't change your address. If you're a person like Charles or me who's had an address, I've had my email address for more than 10 years. It's on every spam. I'll tell it to you now, leo@leoville.com. It's on every spammer's list. It's public. It's might as well be written on the front of my building. So the only solution for me, short of changing my email address, which isn't going to work, is good spam filtering. So I use a commercial service called MailRoute. They get the mail first. They clean it. I consider this, it's almost like sewage treatment. The best sewage treatment plants. We have one in the area, just up the road a piece. They're very proud of it. They have and I've never used it, but they have a water fountain at the end of the sewage treatment plant. And they say, drink some. Because they say, our treatment is so good, by the time it's at the end of it, it's potable water. You can drink it. I've never got the nerve up. having taken many Cub Scout and Boy Scout and school trips there. Nor have I ever seen a kid do it either. But so here's the idea. You have to do it in stages. You have primary, secondary, and tertiary treatment. The primary treatment on your spam gets rid of the most egregious spam. The porn images, the Viagra ads, the stuff that's just, that even the dumbest computer can recognize as spam. This is the problem with spam is that they're trying to make it not look like spam. So I use a company called MailRoute. Literally, these are actual stats. In the last 12 months, more than 1 million, close to, but more than 1 million emails have gone to my Leoville account. They filtered out 997, let me see, is that right? No, 970,000 of them. All but 30,000. 30,000 of those emails were real. The rest were spam. So that's a lot gone immediately, and that's a lot of spam. 970,000 spam messages a year. So the remaining 30,000, then I have MailRoute send that to Gmail. Gmail has excellent spam filtering. It's good because it's collaborative. You probably notice when you get a message on Gmail that you think is spam, there's actually a button. You say, this is spam. And Google's keeping track of all that, and when they see enough people refer to a message as spam, because spam gets sent to many, many people, right? They say, well, we got one, and they eliminate it. You'll never see it again. So collaborative filtering is a very nice way of doing this. It's a little more refined because it uses humans, not computers. So MailRoute, they're doing a lot of sophisticated stuff. They get rid of most of it. But then we've got a second stage where humans are saying, no, that didn't look like spam, but it was. And then I don't even use Gmail. I use a third system, an IMAP-based system called Fastmail. It fetches the mail from Gmail, and then I have my own filtering. I have a very elaborate sieve script. It's mostly for not cleaning out spam, although it has some anti-spam features, but it's mostly for just figuring out what the mail is, what I need to do about it. It's pretty sophisticated. And then I get the mail from there. It slows things down a little bit because it's got to go through 3 servers before I can actually see it on my desktop. And so sometimes it takes 15, 20 minutes for an email to reach me. I can live with that. I'm fine with that. But by the time it gets to me, I have very little spam. Lately, I've been getting spam. There's a new kind of email I've been getting frequently that looks like it's from a real person. It's written in such a way that it could be a message, and this is why it's not getting flagged, I think. It says, some person really wants to get to know you better. Click this link. And, of course, if you look at the link, it's a malware link. I delete them immediately, but it is getting through despite all of that filtering. Isn't that amazing? Now, what will happen is after a while, either MailRoute or Gmail will improve their algorithms because I'm getting a lot of this. Other people will report it as I have. And that's why, by the way, if you use Gmail, good idea to click that spam button. That's helping them out. And then those mails will stop and somebody else will do something. Just briefly that we'll get through. So really, Charles, that's the solution. Good spam filtering is the solution. AOL doesn't have it. You need to go somewhere where it's good. Gmail's a good start. There are other commercial services as well, like MailRoute I love. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. And joining us right now from Tübingen, Germany, Chris Marquardt, the photo guy. Hi, Chris.
Hey, how's it going?
It's wonderful, wonderful.
That's good.
So it is Halloween here in the States. Do they celebrate Halloween in Germany?
Yeah, they actually do. They've been doing it more and more over the last, 5, 10, 15 years.
Is it thought of as an American holiday, or is it just...
Yeah, pretty much, yes.
Yeah. I hate it. I think
like
you can have it. I'm sick of Halloween. Especially because of zombies. Everybody, all they think they just drench themselves in blood, put a few bite marks on their arms, and they are zombies.
Oh well,
sick of it.
It's
sick of it.
Well, in Germany we have this around February. We have the Mardi Gras kind of thing going on. So lots of people consider Halloween a second version of that, basically.
Yeah, that is kind of what it is. I like it's really, of course, All Hallows Eve and All Saints Day as the day following, and I love the Latin tradition of the Day of the Dead, de los Muertos, which is a celebration and a recognition of past ancestors, those who have
Reminds
passed
me of
on.
Grim Fandango.
I just love the idea. And it's still a little grim, but you go and you have picnics in the cemetery on Mom's grave and stuff, and I think that's nice. That's sweet. Forget all this trick or treat, give me some candy or I'll smash your pumpkin. I just hate it. Anyway, well, I'm just an old grump. I'm wearing my old grump costume. You like it? So let's talk about Halloween eyes in your photos.
Well, I was thinking about what to talk about today, and we still have an assignment going. I'll let that go on for another week.
I'll tell people about that. Sure, yeah.
Yeah, and Halloween, that's not just the time for trick-or-treating. Maybe we should all be doing some trick-or-shooting as well. So a bit of, and I mean shooting in a photography sense, obviously. Halloween is about stuff being a bit gruesome and about night and about shadows. I talked about shadows last week and how to get shadows well in your pictures. I want to reiterate a bit on that. But in addition, how to get the right mood in your Halloween pictures. You can do a few things to achieve that, to not get them look like washed out or flashed to death and these kind of things.
Gloomy. Make them gloomy.
Gloomy, that's the word, yeah. So in order to do that, well, first and most important thing is switch off that flash on your camera.
Yes.
That's going to kill the mood
Doesn't help
right
at all.
away.
Yeah.
It doesn't help at all. Flash means it's a light source that is on top of the camera. Just imagine you have a flashlight on your forehead shining into the other person's face. It's not going to make a nice light. The same is true with flash. So switch that off. You don't need that. It's okay if your pictures have a lot of dark. That's what Halloween is a bit about. Shadows. That's what's desired. And then in order to still get good pictures, to get it right, if you have a DSLR, use the brightest lens that you have. And a bright lens means a very low f number. So typically on the lens, you see two numbers, the focal length in millimeters and the f number, the brightest f number of the lens in, well, it's an f number. So a very good lens for that would, for example, be a 50 millimeter f1.8. That's a very bright lens. The smaller that number, that 1.8, the better. Some only go down to 5.6 or even higher. But the brighter, the better. So you can actually shoot in Halloween type of settings without using a flash. And then the easiest way really to go about it is set your camera to what's called aperture priority. And most cameras, it's either the A mode or the AV mode. Set it to the brightest possible aperture, the lowest number. Raise the ISO. If you have a compact camera, ISO 800 might be a good choice. A DSLR 1600 or with a decent modern DSLR, you might even go 3200 or higher. And then for dark pictures, set the exposure compensation to -1 or -2. That's a simple trick to tell the camera to preserve that darkness, to not to try to brighten things up too much.
That's a good idea, because that's just a knob on the camera that says, don't expose it normally, make it a little darker.
Exactly. So if you do that, exposure compensation -1 or -2, you have to give it a try. Raise the ISO, use the brightest lens that you have. You will get wonderful pictures with great shadows, with where the dark areas are really dark. And then if you look for interesting, creepy light, and sometimes that's the backlight that illuminates things from behind, you're basically set. You'll have those gloomy pictures.
Seems so easy the way you put it. Another way to do it is Google Plus. They have Google Plus is more and more. I'm really loving it. It's Google's kind of I guess Twitter/Facebook, and they have a photo editor called Picnic that's built into it. And for a limited time, they have Halloween effects on Google Plus, so you could take an existing image and Halloweenize it. Now, I've seen lots of images like with stars. Yeah, if you go to Google Plus, there's a lot of images and things. I'm going to put some blood splatters here on my neck so I could turn into a zombie. You can rotate it. You can apply it to the shot. They've got wounds, fangs. You can put a little lightning in the shot if you want. You got a choice between forked lightning or chaos bolt or jagged lightning.
Looks very good with your grumpy look on that picture, actually.
Yeah, you got to pick the right picture, right? You got branches. You can change. Oh, it's really good. This is a lot of fun. And I think, yes, you're right. A lot of people have been doing this in Google Plus to zombify their images or something like that.
Their avatars, yeah.
Their
I've
avatars,
seen a lot
yeah,
of those.
Yeah. Well, Chris, it's great to talk to you. And as you mentioned, we do have a little challenge. It's not a contest. It's not a promotion. It's just a challenge to you to get your stuff out there and take some more pictures, because really we all, even pros, need kind of impetus to go out there and take pictures. So what we do is we ask you to take a picture in honor of Steve Jobs, illustrating the word, the concept, the idea, Apple. We don't say what that means. You pick that for yourself. And once you've got an image you're happy with, you want to upload it to our Flickr group, flickr.com. It's free to join Flickr if you're not already a member. And if you have a Yahoo account, Flickr's a Yahoo site, so you probably already do have a Flickr account as well. You just go to your Flickr account. There's a groups button right on there. You can search for Tech Guy, and you'll find our Tech Guy group. Upload the picture there with the tag Apple. Orbit Gal will say thank you, and we appreciate that. And then next week, Chris will pick 3 photos, one of which I hope will be mine, illustrating the concept, the idea, Apple. Oh, we already have some good ones, don't we? Look at these. Oh, isn't that great? So Chris will pick 3 to talk about. Not necessarily the 3 best images. I don't want people to feel like if you didn't get picked, you didn't have a great image. But images that are, give them something to talk about.
It's a tough choice most of the time. It's a very tough choice to find 3 really good pictures.
Look at this one. It's an apple hooked up to an iPod. I like that. That's kind of cool. A lot of pictures of apples, the fruit. But that maybe that's too obvious. I don't know. Maybe not. Let's see if you can get a really great apple picture. Well, there's an Android robot talking to an apple. Aw. Aw. I like that. Aw. Yeah, that might get picked. Anyway, get your pictures up. Make sure you take them. Chris Marquardt is at chrismarquardt.com, CHRI. You know what? I'm not going to spell it. Go to Tech Guy Labs. We'll have a link there, techguylabs.com. You could figure out how to spell that, right? He's got workshops. He's got a great podcast, Tips from the Top Floor, all sorts of ways to get better at photography. So what are you doing for Halloween? Are you going to bring your camera out?
No, actually, I think I'm going to spend some time writing the next version of Pocket Chris to get on the iTunes.
Pocket Chris is your iPhone app. So tell us what that is.
It's a little teacher in your pocket. It's there's a free version, there's a paid version. They're different, so you just get the free one. Look if it's okay for you. And it's a series of little, it illustrates concepts, concept of depth of field, concept of aperture. So just go search for Pocket Chris and you'll be
Pocket Chris. Chris Marquardt, thanks so much. Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy. More to come right after these words. Stay here. Halloween. Scary. Leo Laporte, the not-so-scary tech guy. 8888 Ask Leo. That's the phone number. If you've got a question, a comment, suggestion, although I'll tell you, there's enough tech-scary stuff. We don't have to emphasize it. After all, there's spam, blue screens of death, beach balls, and on and on and on. 8888 Ask Leo. That's the phone number. 888-827-5536 to talk about your gloom and doom. Let's see who's been hanging on the longest here. Looks like it's Wade in Alberta, Canada. Thanks for your patience, Wade. Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy.
Hi, Leo.
Hey, Wade.
I got a little problem here, and just to mention that fellow that called in about all the spam.
Yeah.
I was getting it for 2 or 3 years steady, hundreds a day.
Oh, that's awful.
And I'm not even one of those famous figures, you know.
Was it spam? What did it look like? Was it spam addressed to you?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it came to my email, and it was all kinds of stuff. There was porn, and there was Viagra, and there was...
Yeah, that's called spam. We all get it. Not just you. I don't know if I buy the idea that there's bots going around the net signing you up for stuff. I think it's just spam. That's what it is.
But hundreds a day? I mean,
yeah. You heard me tell you, I get 1 million a year, 1 million messages a year, 970,000 of which are spam. Yeah. So let me do a little calculation here. 970,000 divided by 365. Yeah, that's 2,657 spam messages a day.
That's a lot.
Spam.
Yeah.
So hundreds, big deal. That's nothing. Nothing. So that's why, but the truth is what we've also got very good at, thanks to all this spam, is spam fighting. And I think there are excellent solutions for getting rid of spam. Gmail does a great job. Yahoo does a great job. Hotmail does a great job.
Yeah, I've got 2 questions there, too.
Sure. Well, fire away. Let's get some questions in here.
I've got Google for a homepage, right? And I was wondering if I should go to Google Chrome.
It's my preferred browser, but that's one of the beauties of the tech world. You have choices. Microsoft's Internet Explorer 9 is a pretty darn good browser. Of course, Firefox people love, and my favorite, the one I use religiously on all platforms, is Chrome. I use it on Mac, Windows, and Linux, and I love it.
Okay. And I've got AVG for an antivirus. It's the free version.
I'm not crazy about AVG, Avast. There are many free antiviruses. If you really want to use a free one, I would use Microsoft's solution. What version of Windows are you using?
It's Windows 7.
Oh, good. So
Premium.
Yeah, so it's free to anybody using Vista or 7, and all you have to do is go to Microsoft.com/Security Essentials. I think that's a nice one because it comes from Microsoft. They keep it up to date. And I think it's a little faster than AVG. It's not as fast as the commercial solutions like our sponsor, Nod 32. But if you don't want to pay for it, that's kind of baseline. Everybody should be at least running that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, my AVG keeps popping up and saying that Internet Explorer is using too much memory, and it'll tell me how much memory it's using.
I don't know why an antivirus should be telling you that.
Yeah, and then it says the recommendation is I should close Internet Explorer and reopen it in order to get faster response.
Nice. I don't know if that's true. First of all, use Chrome. Second of all, uninstall AVG.
Yeah.
I don't think it's worth it. I don't know if that's even a valuable alert. I think that's probably meaningless. So just uninstall AVG. Just remove it. And use Microsoft Security Essentials. You won't see that warning anymore.
Okay. I thank you, sir.
My pleasure, Wade. I'm glad you listen. All the way up there in Alberta. You got to ask a question. Why is AVG and Avast free? It's free because they want to upsell you to their paid antivirus. And that means they're not going to put all the best, latest stuff in it. They need to hold out on you so you'll buy the advanced stuff. Microsoft, of course, isn't trying to sell you antiviruses. They don't even make a paid antivirus. They're just trying to protect you as they ought to because they make the operating system that lets the viruses in the first place. So I would just say use Microsoft Security Essentials. It's free. If you have a version of Windows that won't support it or, is too old or whatever, just pay a little bit, Either get a new version of Windows or get Nod 32, which is excellent from ESET. Very fast, very lightweight, and a sponsor. So I should give them that disclaimer. Tom, trucking through Livingston, Montana. Hi, Tom.
Hello.
Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Welcome to the show.
I thought I'd call you because I haven't found an answer on the internet to this that works after a reboot.
Yeah, you said your Windows Vista's view is changing?
Well, this is Vista and 7. Both of them do it.
Okay.
You go into you open up a folder, and of course, depending on what's in the folder, Windows decides what you're going to look at. Icons, list, view, whatever.
Right.
Well, my problem is I love Windows 2000. I love what I can do, the way I make it look, and...
Yeah, you used to be able to, in older versions of Windows, say, save this as my default view, didn't you?
I don't remember what the default was, but I always...
No, there was a setting, though. I remember you would I can't remember, somehow you would get the folder properties and you would say what the default view was, and it would stay that way.
You can still do that. You can still do that, but as soon as you reboot the computer, it clears all that away.
It's forgetting it. Now, see, that's not right. That's not right.
See, and I read about this on Microsoft's site. Apparently, when they built Windows Vista and 7, apparently, they used the XP registry and just went on top of it, and some of this stuff is still in there. And that's the problem, because that's still in there, and I can't, I've even tried to clean some of it out, and I can't that's going to take forever, and I might turn it into a paperweight and have to reinstall, and I don't want to play that way. So I've even found registry things you can do on the internet and just install a key and do what they say, and it doesn't work.
Can you, isn't there a setting, something like make all folders like this one, something like that?
You go up into the tools, options, folder view on the three tabs, and then apply to all folders, and it doesn't work.
So you understand that there are default settings. They have something called automatic folder type discovery. So if it's a picture folder, it shows.
See, that's my big issue with that. I'm one of these people that I realize there's people out there that are fine with this, but I don't really want the computer to discover for me what's there because I already know what's there.
Got it. So what you want to do is, and now, by the way, you have updated to Service Pack 2 on Vista?
Oh, yeah, but I've got 2 laptops.
Because there was a known problem pre-Service Pack 2, but you've updated it.
Yeah, I keep them all up to date. That's all I can do to recommend to other people. Why haven't you updated Windows?
Yeah, no kidding. No kidding. So if you go to folder options in if you go to folder options in the control panel, there's a setting in folder options that says reset folders. It'll reset it, and then I think you can go in there and kind of fine-tune what you get. Let me play with this and see if it does what we want it to do when we come back. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Well, a good day to you. Leo Laporte here, the tech guy. And it's time to talk computers, the internet, cell phones, camcorders, MP3 players, home theaters, and all that jazz. 8888 Ask Leo. That's the number to call. If you have a question, a comment, a suggestion, I'd love to hear from you. 888-827-5536. Toll free from anywhere in the U.S. of A. Let's get right back to the phones. I'm in a hurry to talk to more people. So Tom isn't. Oh, we were talking to Tom. He was trying to figure out how to get Vista to remember its folder views, and I have put a link in the show notes to the best I could find online. It is, this is kind of the future. I hate to say it, of technology and computing. For those of us who want to use mainstream consumer-grade operating systems, is that the operating system is going to make a lot of decisions that we can't really override. It started with Apple, but even Microsoft's doing that now because normal people don't care. They want the computer to behave as expected. They don't want to mess with it. As Mark Zuckerberg said, we don't want to make lists. We just want it to happen. And that's why the iPad is so popular. There's very little you can do to change how the iPad works. That's just it. Now, you can always go out and get Linux. I think that's the good news, is Linux is a free open-source operating system that is a tweaker's delight. Down to the point where if you don't like the settings, you can rewrite the code. You're never stuck. So there's still a choice in the world. And I think Linux is great. And you know what? It's free. And it runs on everything, including Mac and Windows hardware. Rick's in a gorilla suit in Orange County. At least he's not in a zombie outfit. Hi, Rick.
Hi, Leo. How you doing?
I'm great. I'm so sick of zombies.
Oh, hey. I think I called you a couple of years ago when I was in a clown suit.
Well, I think a gorilla suit's good. Now, where do you get a gorilla suit?
It was at a costume shop here in Orange.
Now, are you going to keep it?
Oh, yeah. I do it every weekend.
You're a gorilla every weekend? Not just Halloween?
And I listen to Leo.
Oh.
Gorilla.
The whole time?
Yes, sir.
Wow.
I love it. I love it. If I make somebody smile, it made my day.
Wow. Well,
yeah,
so do you stay at home, or are you actually out and about?
Well, I'm out and about. I'm in front of a furniture store. So I advertise for them and draw customers in for them.
Ah, you're one of them gorillas. I get it.
Yeah.
So is this a profession?
I've been doing it for like about 8 years now. I don't care,
That's awesome.
I love it. It's great.
Sometimes you go to bed in the gorilla suit by accident?
No, sometimes I forget to wave it. I still wave at people. You know? I forget to stop waving at people. When I hear a car horn honk, I wave at it, you know? Oh, wait, I'm not in the suit.
Wait a minute, I'm not in a suit.
Yeah.
Hey, what can I do? What can I do for you today, Rick? In a gorilla suit.
I have an Evo 4G. And I love it. I have a love-hate relationship with it. And
I bet I know what you hate. I bet what you hate is that the battery life is about a minute.
Well, I got extended battery, and I'm up to 6 hours per one battery. So.
And the key is just to have multiple batteries. At least you can swap the battery.
Right.
It was the only thing I didn't love about the Evo. I love the big screen.
Awesome. The HDMI is beautiful. You guys fix your TWiT Live app so it'll HDMI out for me.
That's not me. Thank Craig Mullaney, who does those apps. Actually, the Android app, I'm not sure. That might be a MediaFly app. Yeah, we don't do any of our own, but I'm glad to hear it. So many of these Android phones have little mini HDMI connectors that come out with a full HDMI, so you can literally plug your phone into your TV set.
Well, sir, I'm down to now virtually almost no computer, no CDs, no DVDs. All on my phone now.
Wow.
That's how technology's going.
I agree. I think these phones are more powerful than most computers we've ever had in our whole life. I mean, they're amazing. They're dual core, 1.2 gigahertz. They got a giga RAM. They've got great, 1080 video coming out of them. I think it's pretty impressive. And I think the thing to look at, Rick, going forward is going to be something called DLNA, which means you don't have to hook up a cable anymore. You just use it over your Wi-Fi network. You can do that with the iOS devices right now with AirPlay, and now then you're really golden. Then you just, in fact, I know some people who think that your phone is going to start being your media center.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And it can. What's nice about it is that it can. I can talk to you on the phone and still download a movie at the same time.
Wow. So what can I? That's good. So what sounds like you're in a golden, wonderful world. Is there anything wrong with it besides the battery life? What else?
No, I'm about ready for my contract due up, and I want to root it.
Yeah, you should root it. You should.
Yeah, I want to root it.
Yeah.
The thing is, I don't have a computer right now. That's the problem.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to root a Android phone without a computer. There's jailbreaking on the iPhone side or the iPad side, which is different than rooting. Jailbreaking means I modify my iPhone in such a way that I can put other people's software on it, not just the software Apple allows. So that gives you a broader variety of software. Rooting on your Android phone is a little bit of a different thing. It's basically merely giving you root permissions, super user permissions, administrative permissions on the phone, which is great. Because there are times when only an administrator can do things. For instance, there's backup software I love for Android called Titanium. Will only work if you're an administrator because, of course, it needs to back up system files, and only administrators can do that. So rooting generally on an Android phone, rooting is not only easy to do, it's permitted, it's allowed, it's encouraged, in fact, by some manufacturers. So it's not a risky proposition, and you get more than you do jailbreaking an iPhone. You get a lot more capability. Because, the truth is there's no point in jailbreaking Android. You're allowed to get apps from anywhere. If you check that little box in the settings, it says allow third-party apps. They don't limit you to the Android marketplace like iPhone does. And, potentially that's a security flaw, of course. You have to, with great power comes great responsibility. In the words of Spider-Man, you got to make sure that if you have the capability of downloading files from everywhere, that you're careful about it, that you don't just do it from anywhere. So Craig Mullaney does have an Android app. I didn't know that. ShiftKeySoftware.com to watch us. So, the best way to find out if and how you can root your Android phone is go to XDA Developers. That's XDA-developers.com, or you can Google XDA Developers. It'll pop right up. And there are forums there. They talk about every handset and then how to root it. The next step after rooting it is, in fact, putting your own firmware on it. That's a little bit more advanced, but rooting it's the first step to that. It's important to root it first because you want to also back up the image before you put some other image on there. All that a little more complicated, a little beyond the scope of this show. I've done it, of course, and I do it all the time, and I love to, and I recommend it. It's a safe thing to do. However, it's a little complicated on some phones. So here's what I would do, Rick, in a gorilla suit. head on over to XDA Developers, and you'll find in the forums there's a device database. You'll find it in there, and it'll say, here's how you root the Evo. That's simple. Not hard at all. Roger, San Rafael, California. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hi, Roger.
Hi, Leo. Nice to talk to you.
Wonderful to talk to you, sir.
I remember seeing you on TV many years ago.
Many years ago. Yeah, I don't do much TV anymore. I do the internet thing.
Okay, speaking of internet, I want to ask your opinion on a device called the Magic Jack Plus.
I like it.
Oh, it makes calls from the internet free.
Yeah, it's VoIP. We call it Voice over Internet Protocol, VoIP or VoIP. That's what Skype is. Magic Jack is a little USB dongle you plug into your computer. Very affordable. Gives you a year worth of phone service for nothing, practically. Works well. I recommend it. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Is it just the time of year? Does every song sound scary? Kyle Benham, our musical director and show operator, picking the hits. You'll find a list of all of his songs for the day and every show on our website, techguylabs.com. Gina Salvati on the phones. A lot of people in the chat room talking about a very moving piece in the New York Times today. Mona Simpson, who was Steve Jobs' sister, his biological full sister, who he reunited with as an adult, because, of course, Mr. Jobs was put up for adoption by his biological parents. Didn't find his mother and his sister until he was in his 20s, but they were very close. His sister, Mona Simpson, is a well-known novelist. And if you get a chance to read the Eulogy in the New York Times, it is very, very moving. Just extremely touching. And she literally talks about Steve's last hours. Kind of had sounds like the best possible kind of last hours. Was able to be with he was at home, he was able to be with his wife and his children and his friends and communicate with them almost to the end. Very powerful eulogy. Funny, too. There's some nice touching moments in there. He had called her the day before he passed away and said, hurry, come see me. I don't have long left. And so she was able to see him and talk to him and hear his final words, which were, interestingly, is it a spoiler to tell you? You know what, I'll let you read the eulogy. It's online at nytimes.com. 8888 Ask Leo. And we'll put a link in the show notes, too. Can you do that, James? James DeRiveau's writing everything down, putting it in the show notes. Let's go to Prince Frederick, Maryland on line 5. T.O. is on the line. Hi, T.O.
Hey, Leo. How you doing today? Maybe I should... I think maybe I should play the lottery. I called through one time and immediately got right through.
You are having a lucky day.
I think so. Hey, listen, I got a question for you. I need a recommendation for some hardware on moving VHS and high 8 tapes over to the computer and burning them onto discs. And I'm getting paid for this, so I'd like to have something fairly decent, do a fairly good job. I have Premiere Elements.
Good. You got the software. What you need is some hardware to convert the analog signal coming from those players into the Super 8 and the VHS and all that into bits, so that the computer can record them on the hard drive and then edit them, I should say. And there are a number of companies that make them. We use something from Pinnacle Systems that is my favorite. We used to use it all the time for converting our digital signal to, or actually our analog signal, I should say, coming out of my switcher into bits so that we could stream them over the internet. So pinnaclesys.com, and then the hardware that we were using, if I can remember it. Do you remember, John, what the stream converter was that we used to use on? Was it Canopus? Canopus is very good. The ADVHC, something like that. Let me see if I can find it. It's a little box. They range from a couple $100 to $1,000. These are external boxes, which I like. You can get an internal device, but then it's just not as flexible, and it doesn't necessarily do a better job. It just goes in a card slot. It's more compact.
Spell Canopus.
Canopus, and we use something called the ADVC 110. They make a 120, 220. They make a bunch of them. It's actually not Pinnacle. I'm sorry. It's Grass Valley makes these. Grass Valley is a well-known switcher company. So you'll find these at grassvalley.com, not Pinnacle. Okay. Pinnacle makes its own. They make cards as well. I think Pinnacle used to own the Canopus brand.
What's the big difference as you go up in value on them?
Features that you might not care about. What these do is they can convert the video coming in at an analog port, and they have a variety of ports you'll see on the front of the box, into FireWire. Now, that's one issue, is that most computers nowadays don't have FireWire.
I build my own computer, so that's not a problem.
Yeah, it's a cheap thing to put a FireWire port on a computer. I think all you need is the ADVC 110.
Okay.
And that's like a couple $100. It's not expensive. But they also have a 300, which will add some features. I think we use the 110 for everything.
Is there a website or any other place that I could find more information about getting settings, frame rates, codecs, how to burn it to the disk, and all that kind of stuff?
That's a good question.
I've never done this before.
The truth is, these are pretty much plug and play. You'll have, if you look on the back of it, composite inputs, which is what you're coming from, is a composite port. That's that yellow, red, white thing. They also have S-video input ports. Whoops, on the front, and then you have digital video out. There aren't a whole lot of settings to mess with. The way it works is probably fine. David Bix in my chat room, a number of people in the chat room are suggesting, David Bix suggests digitalfaq.com, and PC Guy says videohelp.com.
Okay.
So it is true that there are some tricks of the trade. I was very happy with these ADVCs, the ADVC 300 from Grass Valley, grassvalley.com.
All righty, that'll do it. And by the way, it's all your fault and Patrick Norton's fault.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
My old co-host on the Screensavers, we got you into this, huh?
Yeah, this all goes back to there. You got me all wound up and excited, and what was a hobby working for friends and family has now turned into a side business.
Well, good on you, T.O. I think that's great. Did you come see us when we were in Baltimore?
No.
Yeah,
I didn't know you were up here.
Many moons ago. I think that was 2002 or 3. But we had a very nice visit to Baltimore and signed autographs. I think we were actually in Towson's Corner, somewhere like that.
Yes, that's right.
Just down the road a piece.
Northern Virginia.
Yes,
It
sir.
is, just about an hour.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm just about an hour from Washington, D.C. area.
Well, it's so nice to talk to you, T.O. And
Thank you very much.
Thank you for the call. I appreciate it. Thank you for the memories. Debbie in Fullerton, you're next. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hi, Debbie.
Hi, thank you for taking my call.
Of course.
Okay, here's the problem. I have a Wii, love my Wii. We just downloaded Netflix.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it just seems to be since we've done this, when you put a game into the console, the whole Wii console throws the whole game out.
Oh, come on.
It goes to black screen. It says error, eject the game, unplug it, and we've done this over and over and over again. At first, I thought it was one game. Then we did another game. And then it's like, no.
You know, it's probably not related to the Netflix disc unless that disc was, warped or somehow mangled, because I don't think that Netflix, the disc itself, is going to hurt anything. In fact, I've used the Netflix on the Wii. I don't like it on the Wii. Oh, it's a download now? Oh, well, never mind. It's not a disc. It's a download. So it's not the Netflix app. You're going to have to take it back. You're going to have to send it to the factory or bring it to a Nintendo repair somewhere, because I'm afraid it's kerfluggered. And there's no hope, and there's certainly nothing I can do from here. I think the drive is broken. So it's just a download. Well, yeah, that wouldn't have anything. Well, maybe it would. Now, Nick's saying that the download does update the files in the system, so it could be it got kerfluggered by that. But not much you can do. Nintendo has to fix it. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. More calls right after this. Oh, my goodness.
You can't touch this.
Can't touch this.
Google can't touch this.
Extreme. So Kyle said I should Google can't touch this. What am I going to get? I'm feeling... What, don't do it on the air?
No, I was just saying Google has nothing on it. You can't touch this. Like his new search engine, Wiredo.
You can't touch this.
MC Hammer launched that new search engine.
MC Hammer has a new search engine? It's called Wiredo?
Yep.
You're sure it's not called Weirdo, right? Wiredo? And where would that be, Kyle?
He launched it at Web 2.0 last week.
Wiredo. Well, I'm just glad Hammer's found something to do in his retirement. I can't find it. Google doesn't know anything about it. Eh, 8888 Ask Leo. That's the phone number. Eddie, Priceville, Alabama. You're next. Hi, Eddie. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hello, Leo.
Hello. How are you?
Great. How are you?
What can I do for you?
My wife has written a children's book, and we have a friend doing some songs to go with it.
Oh, isn't that
We
neat?
wanted to do a multimedia ebook.
That's a great idea.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Any ideas?
Well, I think the best way to do there are a couple of websites that will help you do ebooks, but I think the one I would recommend is the one that Amazon does. Right? See, they would have a little in with Amazon. It's called CreateSpace. CreateSpace.com, and
That's where we published the print version of the book.
right, but they also do multimedia.
They do.
I believe so. You know, everybody's moving in that direction with, you know, the initial EPUB formats, electronic publication formats, like Mobi, which is the one Amazon uses for the Kindle, and EPUB, which is the open source one. There are others. Text, of course, PDF, you know, typically are text, heavy text. Maybe you can get images in there. But if you want to get audio and video in there, maybe they don't give you quite as many features as you like, or not even support it at all. But there are newer formats that do, because that's where we're headed, especially with Amazon's Kindle Fire coming, right? That's a multimedia pad. And boy, wouldn't that be great to get that kid's book on the Fire?
Yes, that'd be great, or on the iPad.
Yeah, or the iPad. Now, doing it on the iPad, you'd almost certainly need to do it as an app. And that's, by the way, how most people are doing it right now. They're writing a dedicated app, because you can't use Flash. The iPad only supports some very limited formats. I don't think that the iBookstore even supports multimedia. So at least right now, you're early. That's part of the problem. You know, textbook manufacturers, or publishers, I guess you'd call them, are working on multimedia in their textbooks. This is definitely the future. Amazon has announced, for instance, that it will support multimedia extensions on the Kindle Fire through HTML5. So I think we're going to see it. It may be that your early days. Certainly, you could do it in Flash, but Flash would keep you off the iPad, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. EPUB is probably the best open source format, and I don't know if EPUB has multimedia extensions. Let me look, because that's if you put in an EPUB, you'd be in pretty good shape. PDF does. Many people don't know this, but you can do multimedia and PDF. Here we go. This is what I was looking for. A comparison of ebook formats. This is on the Wikipedia site. Just go to Wikipedia, search for comparison of ebook formats. It shows all the formats and discusses capabilities. And what you're looking, of course, is for one that will support audio as well as video. It also shows what these formats run on, because you want something that runs on as many things as possible, don't you? Yeah, EPUB is the open standard. I'm just not sure if what kind of multimedia support EPUB has. It certainly would be the one that would get it running on the most devices, including iBooks on the iPad, the Sony Reader, the Kobo Reader, Kindle. Actually, Kindle does not have EPUB format, but I think it will soon. Kindle uses its own proprietary format, alas, the AZW format. Which is Mobi with a little additional stuff. I'm just looking to see what kind of multimedia support is in there. You can convert to EPUB from EPUB to other formats very easily too. I think really this is the way to go. Boy, as I look at this, it doesn't look like a lot of them do support multimedia extensions. PDF is one of the few that does, but the problem is the device you're using, the Fire or the iPad, will have to support the extensions, and I don't think most of them do. So if you really want, we're in the early days. If you really want to put music and video and movement and animation into the text of a children's book, which I would do, you're going to write an app. And I'll tell you, if you look at a good example on the iPad is the Dr. Seuss books. Amazing. They're so well done. And they make kids want to do them. Okay, here we go. Thank you, chat room. Toronto for Mario has a link in the chat room to which we'll put in the show notes, from speedofcreativity.org on how to do multimedia in EPUB. Enhanced multimedia. So it does have that capability. But it says viewing an EPUB on iBooks on iPad doesn't guarantee format validity. In other words, you may not see some of the multimedia in here. This is my sense of it in general, is that you're doing something that everybody wants to do, but we don't have a standard that's out there that's widely adopted. So again, I think my choice would be to get an app creator to help you write an app for the iPhone and the iPad. And I think, by the way, there's a great market if it's a good book. We've seen some amazing multimedia books on the iPad.
Well, can I plug the book?
Yeah, what's the book?
It's Do Right Rhymes.
Do Right Rhymes.
JanaBarryArty.com.
Oh, that's awesome.
I told you a couple of months ago I switched our website from Flash, got away from Flash.
You see, you've learned a lesson, haven't you? Get rid of that Flash.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to go back there. You could do it in Flash, but it would limit its appeal. Yeah, if anybody in the chat room has experience, or anybody listening has experience making multimedia ebooks, I'd love to know what your experience has been. You can create them. There are multiple formats to support audio and video in a ebook format. But the problem is which readers support them, even if, they claim to. InhouseDigitalPublishing.com apparently has something that will kind of make an app for you. That makes it a little bit easier. That's interesting. Chat room's so good. Thank you, THSF Chris. In-house Digital Publishing. It is a $1,000. Starts at $1,000. Wait, it goes even higher. Starts at $1,500, goes up to $6,000, but it allows you to publish in multimedia formats. All of this stuff. Yeah, that's, again, I think we're too early. That looks like it's for desktops too. I think we're too early. I think that we're going to make some more strides here. But the good news is all the publishing houses want to do it. Of course, what a great way to do a kid's book, right? Put it on the iPad, put some music in there, some animation. Peter in Riverside, California. You're next, Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hi, Peter.
Hi, sir. How you doing?
I'm great. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you for having me on. I appreciate it. All right. Pretty much what's been going on is I've been a console gamer for most of my life, and I decided, hey, I wanted to go to PC. So my friend
now you know why you were a console gamer.
Yep.
Exactly. The PCs are way ahead of the Xbox or the PS3. They have much better graphics capabilities, but the hardware will kill you.
Oh yeah, but so far I've had nothing but.
Well, hang on the line. We'll talk about it a bit when we come back. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
They're here.
Oh, a little poltergeist action here on the Tech Guy Show as we get ready for Halloween. Hey, somebody in the chat room came up with a really neat site for people who want to make multimedia books, children's books, that will play on the iPad and other devices. It's called Tailspring. TALESPRING.com. And it's kind of a drag and drop app creator. So if you've got an existing book with existing assets, it seems like this might be a way to do it. They say you can try it for free anyway. I haven't tried it. I don't know it. But this is kind of neat. Tailspring. Like a story tale, fairy tale. TALESPRING.com. Thank you, chat room. As always, the chat room to the rescue. Our website, I'll put this on the website. Our website is techguylabs.com. That's where you'll find links to everything I mentioned today, thanks to James DeRuvo, who's writing all this stuff down. And, more importantly, you will find links to my other radio shows, the past 817 of them, downloadable in audio and video. You'll find show notes from all of those 817 shows and a link to other shows on my podcast network, the TWiT network. Martin in Corpus Christi, Texas. You're next. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hi, Martin.
Hey, Leo.
Oh, wait a minute, Martin. Hang on. Before I forgot, Peter in Riverside was on the line, and I forgot. I was going to go to you first, Peter. I'll get to you, Martin, right after Peter. But, Peter, you said you have a PC. You've moved to PC gaming. Tell me your tale of woe. Are you still there? He said his graphics card doesn't work. Rats. All right. Well, if it's overheating, make sure the fan's working on it. It's not covered with dust and all of that. And if it's still not working, it may just be it's not up to date enough. This is why we do console gaming, so we don't have to worry about that. Now, Martin in Corpus Christi. Sorry about that, Martin.
That's okay, no problem. Hey, I had a question about Pandora. Is there a difference between the paid version and the free version? Because I understand, like, I've created a station, like a Howard Jones station, for instance, and I keep getting the five same Howard Jones songs over and over.
I don't know if the paid would be better in that respect. The idea of the paid version is that you don't get any ads. The Pandora one. I think they also stream, so there's no ads at all. They also stream at a higher quality, 192 kilobits, not mobile, but on the desktop. It's worth it for me, but I don't think you get more song choice. You do. The one thing that you do get is there is I don't know if you know this, but you know that downward thumb, the skip, is limited to the number of skips an hour you can do. Right. And I think you get more skips per day on Pandora One. So it's a few things. Okay. But if they only have 5 songs, Howard Jones.
Yeah, because and I don't mind because I'm a big Howard Jones fan, but I just wondered. It's the same 5, and I keep favoring. I favored them and stuff, but I was thinking, well, maybe, I would get a little bit more Howard Jones material, but it's pretty much the same 5 songs. With other music like his sprinkled in there, but it's essentially.
They must only have those 5 songs. What was it? Hold Me Now. What was the name of Howard Jones' hit?
Oh, you put me on the spot now. Okay.
He had a hit, but I think he's had many albums. I'm sure he has more than 5 songs.
He's had many. Oh yeah, he's had many hits and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So here's what I would recommend: Spotify.
Is that invitation only still, or can you just...
No, I think it's open now, and the free version gives you quite a bit of access, and I think it's really great. I pay the $10 a month for it. It's much more than the paid Pandora one, but I think it's worth it. Let me check my Spotify for Howard Jones, and we'll see what kind of selection. Now, Spotify, there's another one called Mog. If you like the Pandora concept, which is you pick an artist and then it makes a radio station of that artist and similar artists, Mog does that, M-O-G, same price, $10 a month. They have artist-only radio, and they have a slider, which I really like, that's better than Pandora. You can slide it all the way to the left, and it will just be Howard Jones. Spot it all the way to the right, and it will be no Howard Jones, but a lot of people like Howard Jones. I kind of like that. Now, the one negative on Spotify is you have to have a Facebook account.
Oh, okay.
But if you already have, look at all the Howard Jones songs. What is Love? Things Can Only Get Better. That was his big hit. Like to Get to Know You Well. No One Is to Blame. That was a big hit. No One Is to Blame. I remember that. What is Love? Everlasting Love. Actually, there aren't Pearl in the Shell, Hide and Seek, always, and we've found more than 5. Conditioning, The Prisoner. Yeah, they have a ton of Howard Jones. It looks like they got every one of them. So,
yeah, I think I might go that route. Well, I wanted to say before you hang up that I've been a tremendous fan of yours since back in the ZDTV days and Tech TV days, and I'm a TWiT junkie, and I love your show.
Oh, thank you so much, Martin. Love to hear that. I appreciate it. Irate Letter. I realize you get a ton of email. If you have a moment, please consider this in your overall general mix. We were talking about how to back up a Buffalo station, and I said, I think Buffalo makes pretty good network-attached storage. This guy has had, he says, the worst experience. It used to come with a backup program called Mimeo, which they've discontinued. He said, well, can I replace it with something? Because, you told me that this would work. And they said, no, you have to buy it. And you can't use Mimeo even though we shipped it. So he said, maybe you want to rethink recommending Buffalo Station. Well, I haven't had any problems with them, but that doesn't sound like very good customer service. I do like very much, as I mentioned to our caller earlier, the Ready NAS from Netgear. I've been using those for years. Love them. And Synology, Synology, makes some very good consumer-friendly network-attached storage devices. So, I've actually heard some mixed things about Buffalo. If you're at all worried, Synology or Netgear's Ready NAS, those are excellent. Really, really excellent. Let's see here. Jerry Orange. Oh, wait a minute. Before we do that, I was also going to talk about music services. There are a ton of them, aren't there? There's Napster and Rhapsody, the old guys, the old guard. There's the new stuff, RDO, which was created by the same guys who did Skype. There's Mog. There's Spotify, which is getting all the headlines these days. Most of them have the same basic plan. There's even Microsoft's Zune Pass. $10 a month. You get unlimited play of any of their songs. Spotify says we have 20 million songs. I think they're all really basically the same. Yeah, every published artist, basically. Every song from everybody, with a few notable exceptions, big name people who just don't want to be online. Almost everybody now. I think Metallica is still not on, right? I love all these services. Really, in almost all of them you could try free. Spotify, Mog, RDO, you could try free for 30 days. I would try each one and see what you like the best. The song selection, roughly the same. The quality, roughly the same. But there's some little features, social features. I like, for instance, Mog's ability to create a radio station, much like Pandora, based on artists. You type in the name of the artist, you say, play the radio, and then it will make a mix based on that artist. And you have a slider, which I love, that says, I want all that artist or very little of that artist, but mostly people like that artist. That's a great way to program your music. So Mog is a great choice, MOG.com. I love RDO, RDIO.com, and Spotify, which is the one I currently use at Spotify.com. I think Pandora has all sorts of issues. They seem to have a lot of repeats. The selection seems limited. They've really struggled a little bit. All right, last call of the day. Let's see if I can get it in time. Orange County, California. Jerry.
Well, thank you so much for taking my call, Leo.
My pleasure.
I am utterly frustrated. I was a big fan of Roxio Easy Me, the creator.
Yeah, not so good.
And one morning I woke up and version 10 did not work on my Windows.
And I am out of time, Jerry. Tell you what, irc.twit.tv or go to techguylabs.com. Our chat room will have some great recommendations. But I am out of here. Have a great geek week.